Howdy folks, BC here. You're watching Deuce and Guns, and is the Olight H1R Nova the most advanced headlamp in the world? I think it might be. I really think it might be. First of all, let's take a look and see what you get in the box. Here's the box that comes in right here, and that number is no lie. It can put out 600 lumens of this tiny little flashlight. Okay, so what you get is you get a nice little carry pouch. You get a proprietary charging cable with it, which I'll show you later. You have a clip here that is smartly located on the side of the carry pouch, so you can put it on and off the actual light if you want to clip it on something versus have it strapped to your head. You get the headband, of course, the rubber silicone mount, the actual light itself, and the rechargeable CR123 battery. First of all, how much does this thing weigh? Well, the light itself, with the battery installed, weighs in at only 1.6 ounces. You throw the headband in there, and you have a whole system that weighs 2.6 ounces. So that's a full headlamp with the gear installed, 2.6 ounces. That barely weighs anything at all. Second of all, how bright is this thing? Well, it's got 5 different settings of brightness here. First of all, it starts off with I think they call it the moon mode. Yeah, moon mode. It's only 2 lumens, and it's really just meant for tying your shoes, reading a map, things of that nature, and to keep you from either being identified by someone else or by ruining your night vision. So if you hold down the button when it's off, it'll go to moon mode. Again, that is 2 lumens. You can barely see that, but it is on there. You can see that on my hand right there. Now, if you hold it down a little bit further, or you hold it down longer, you will get the low mode, which is 15 lumens. Then it goes to medium, which is 60 lumens, and then high, which is 180. You will almost always be using this. If you're going to use it as a normal headlamp to walk around the woods with or outside at dark, you're going to be using the 180 setting almost exclusively. So hold this down here and you go 15, 60, and 180. Now 180, that is definitely bright enough to work on. Actually, I've used this brightness to work on my truck at night, to check around the tires, make sure everything's okay, look for drips on the driveway, to walk around the woods, see where your feet are going, and to see just a general area around you. But if you want to kick it up a notch, go to the full 600 lumens that they advertise. While it's on, just double click, and that is 600 lumens. It doesn't look like it right here because I've got big studio lights and I've got a couple thousand watts of lighting actually staring at me right here behind the camera. But that is 600 lumens, that is blinding, and that will pretty much illuminate as much as any flashlight you're going to need, and actually washes out things close up. I cannot use this to work underneath the hood of my car because it would wash things out too much. That would be just too bright. Double click it down and it goes down to 180 again, and that is a very usable light for most situations. And when we're talking about that 600 lumen power level here, which it does very well, and you will enjoy that level quite a bit. The problem is that pretty much any light at that level that's this size will overheat. Luckily, the H1R Nova is a very smart, a technically smart light. It won't let you kill it. You can put it on turbo mode, and within 2-3 minutes, as it's heating up, it will drop itself down to the 180 lumen mode automatically, so you don't burn it out, so you don't overheat it and ruin its ability to resist water or just burn out the electronics altogether. It does not allow you to kill it. Now you're probably asking, how big is it? Well, let's go ahead and measure it for you real quick here. It is, let's see, 8/10 of an inch across, almost 2.5 inches in length, which basically makes it just slightly larger than my thumb. That's pretty dang small. Now you're probably asking yourself, how tough can this thing be? It's tiny, it's super bright, it's high tech. It can't be that durable. Well, according to the back of the box, it can handle a 1.5 meter drop, which is just under 5 feet. So let's go ahead and test that. Actually just fine. Now I've actually already dropped this several times on concrete just in my normal use. You can see there's a good ding right there on the edge there, and that actually went flying across my garage and hit concrete. It was attached to my truck. It was outside of the harness and just attached to a truck because it is magnetic. That's kind of a neat thing to do. I'll show you that later. But it went flying across and landed on concrete, and it was fine. Now, normally, this is not going to be an issue usually, because normally it is going to be attached to a rubber and elastic band headband, and that's going to protect it quite a bit. You could probably drop this off a building and it'd be fine, just because it's going to be protected by a layer of rubber and silicone. Now, just to demonstrate that cool magnetic feature, it's actually part of the charging system, but it has this really strong magnet at the bottom. So, I guess if you need to see what you're chopping, that might be something you might need. And of course, like all my flashlights, I have to test how long it can last. So at the same time, of course, I'm going to throw it into water so I can test its waterproofiness as well. And you can see right there my 5-gallon bucket. It's going into the bucket and it's on turbo mode. After about 2 minutes, you see that the turbo mode goes down to the 180 lumen high mode to protect the circuitry. And right at an hour and a half, the light goes out. Dry it off here. And we will see if there's any egress in water. If the battery is dry inside. That's dry. Yep, totally dry inside. Totally waterproof. Now, to recharge the battery, you could, if you were going to be boring, you could go ahead and unscrew it, take out the battery, they supply us of course, and you could use a normal recharging station like this that I use for my 18650 batteries. But Olight has decided to give you a much cooler option. Now you have this magnetic, wrong side, okay, there we go. Has this magnetic plug right here, and the base is of course magnetic, as I've already shown you, and it goes right together. It's impossible to plug this in incorrectly. Notice the light turns green on the end there, and then once you actually plug it in, it needs to be charged, it will turn red. I'm not sure if you can see that with the studio lights, but it is definitely a red instead of green. You can see, there we go, green, red. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and time how long it takes for this thing to charge right now. And oddly enough, it takes about the same amount of time to charge it up as it did to discharge it in high mode. Now it's time for criticisms. What do I not like about the Olight H1R Nova headlamp? Well, number one is that it, although does achieve the 600 lumen power rating that it advertises on the front of the box, you have to flip it over to the back of the box to realize it can only hold on to that for 2 to 3 minutes, and then it drops back down to the 180 lumens, which it considers its normal high mode. I really wish they could figure out how to hold on to those 600 lumens and use those 600 lumens continuously for much longer than just a couple of minutes. And it is kind of advertising it. It feels a little bit like false advertising when it shows 600 lumens on the box, but then you have to flip it over to find out they can only do the 600 lumens for a couple of minutes. Do you really need 600 lumens all the time? Not really. But it'd be nice to be able to use it whenever you wanted to, for as long as you wanted to. My second issue with this flashlight is that it uses that proprietary cable. Now, it's a cool cable. It really is. It refuses to do anything but, because of the magnet, it refuses to do anything but actually lock in correctly. You cannot plug it in anywhere but correctly, which is cool, but it's still a proprietary weirdo cable that you have to buy straight from them. Now luckily, Olight uses the exact same cable for several of their flashlights, so you can buy it straight from them for about 10 or 15 bucks, I believe. I think I looked it up for there. $10, $15 you can buy another cable, but again, you have to buy it from them. You don't have any other option but to buy straight from them if you want this exact cable. And the cool tech feature of the magnetic charger. Now, again, as I showed before, you can actually take out the battery and use a normal charger for it. And that leads me to my third issue, is that you can only use a CR123 battery. Now, you can use either a rechargeable or a regular non-rechargeable CR123 battery, which is nice. Now, these are only 3 volts. You're not going to get as intense, you're not going to get that 600 lumens out of a 3-volt battery versus the 3.7 that the rechargeable battery is. Now, I understand why they use a CR123 battery. I mean, look at the size of this thing. You're not going to get that intensity and that size without using a CR123 battery. I mean, look at that. It's barely as bigger than the actual battery itself. So I understand why they use it. They're just expensive and they can be hard to find, especially in kind of an emergency situation when you might need a tiny little headlamp flashlight you may not be able to find a CR123 battery or a good supply of them at least. And finally, the silicone mount that the actual flashlight goes into is a little on the flimsy side. It's a little thin. It's not as stiff as I would like it. If it were a little stiffer, it would hold the flashlight a little more steady on your forehead. But in this case, it's pretty flimsy. I mean, it's robust. It's not going to tear off or anything. It's not going to come apart on you, but it tends to kind of roll down a little bit and kind of shift on your forehead unless you've got it tightened up to where you're cutting off your circulation. So I really wish that was a little stiffer material. And now what do I like about the Olight H1R Nova headlamp? Pretty much everything else. It is super lightweight. It is super tiny. It is super powerful, super bright. It comes with a Star Trek grade charging cable. You know, that's the future right there, baby. Look at that thing. You know, I don't care if it costs $10 to replace it once my cat chews through it. It's cool looking. You know, it works really well too. It has a decent headlamp mount there. It's not the greatest, but it is actually usable, and of course comes with the whole thing. It comes with the battery, which is awesome. A lot of things don't even come with their own batteries anymore. It has a nice little carry pouch and a little clip here. I didn't show this to you before, but they have this little, basically it's a little roll of material right there, and the clip falls through there and is held right there, and you use that to actually attach the clip to the light. Let me show you that right there. You just pop it down, and basically you have a miniature version of the old Boy Scout flashlight. You remember those? There's a picture one right there. If you're into Boy Scouts, man, you wanted to sell all kinds of stuff to try to get that flashlight. That was a cool flashlight. If you had one of those and you were into Boy Scouts, you were on top of things right there if you had that flashlight. So this little flashlight basically brings me back to my old Boy Scout days, which was pretty cool. And if you want to take the clip off, you just feed it through that loop again. Get the tie out of the way here. And you just pull it off. So in a day, you get a headlamp that's excellent and all of its accessories for a very reasonable price. Now, if you'd like to take a look at this or anything else Olight has, I have a link in the description below the video. And take a look at that. Take a look and see if you want to get one of these or anything else Olight offers. Well, guys, that's it for me today. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give me a like and go ahead and subscribe because a lot more is on the way. And as always, if you have any comments, questions, or show ideas, go ahead and leave that in the comment box below the video. And of course, you guys have a great day. See ya. Now, how bright is it? Well, it has 4 different settings. Was it 4 or 5? 1, 2, 3. Oh, it's 5 settings. Never mind. 5 settings.